Okay, so November 18th, our little Healy user group. Um, I'll let you know, Paul, because you've been asking me, Marcia. Paul, who's the one that takes care of getting our stuff up on YouTube this last week, I think we're almost 100% caught up. So it's pretty full over there. I think we might be missing one or two, and he's going to knock those out. So he's kind of got on a better rhythm. And some of it was me holding him back, because I get it on my computer. I got to put it up on Dropbox, and then he goes to Dropbox and unloads it to his account. So we've got those up there. So that's good. So I'm excited about that. Um, what I was going to start with tonight is water. And the reason I wanted to start with water, I'm going to play a little clip on our pre-chat here. Marcia and I were talking. I was telling her how I've been studying frequency-specific microcurrents, which is a little different than Healy. Healy gives us, when we're hooked up to the pink dot, Healy gives us one frequency as it delivers it at a time. And frequency-specific microcurrent is closely related, but it delivers two frequencies at a time. But Nuno Nina on his little academy has been talking about the importance of water and why we need it. So today, when I was going through with my online training course with Carol McMacken, she was talking about the importance of hydrating. And she talks about when she delivers frequency specific microcurrents and you're not getting a result, it's hydration. So I thought I would play this 3 or 4 minutes when we hear Carol McMacken, who's been working with frequencies for a good long time, as just a reminder why it's important for us to drink water. And I'll play that and then we can ask some questions and I can help address that a little bit. But I think I've got it queued up here as something to help support you and all of everybody else who's working with working with frequencies, because water is very, very, very important to this. So let's see, where does it say screen share? Share it on my iPad. Click the share button over here. Now, why is it bringing up that? There we go. Okay, here we go. So this is their slide right here, and hydrate the patient. I think a little bit of her stuff got cut off when I kind of used my phone to record this bit of the online training. But basically, she's saying in order for frequency specific microcurrents, but also Healy, we've got to be hydrated. And hydrated means to her approximately 1/4 hour, 4 hours preceding the treatment. Well, when she also talked later on in another part that I didn't capture, you could drink that quart of water 30 minutes before you begin a treatment. All right, and she knows that the elderly tend to be chronically dehydrated, and she won't accept the statement, "I drink lots of water." And so I'll kind of let her go through this in her words, but I think this is pretty good. So this is somebody who's been working with frequencies for 25 years.
Conductor, the patient, and for this afternoon, that's going to be you, because the practicum this afternoon is for everyone in the room to hold hands, and I'm going to run frequencies, specific frequencies, through all 50 of you, all at one time. So that is the practicum. In order for the frequencies to work, to have an effect on your system, you have to be hydrated. So be sipping on water. We'll let you go to the bathroom in about an hour. So that's good. So the semiconductor tissue requires water, okay? Now, in order for FSM to be effective, the patient has to be hydrated. And hydrated means approximately 1 quart, about 1 liter of water in the 4 hours preceding treatment. The requirements used to be much more than that, but this is actually adequate and it works. Athletes need more than that. And the truth of the matter is that the elderly tend to be chronically dehydrated. So when a patient who is 65 or 70 or 75 comes in and says, I drink lots of
Can't hear
water.
me.
Don't believe
Can't
it.
hear?
It's
I
not.
can't hear her.
Because I drink lots of water means different things to different people.
See if I can turn this up more.
So the patient came in and I said, how much
A
water
little
did
bit better.
I said, oh, I had lots of water today. Okay. Well, as it turned out, the treatment didn't work. And I said, are you sure you've had water? Oh, yes, I had 1 quart of water. Okay. Treated some more. Didn't work. And then I sent him home and he came back the next day. And I treated him. I said, are you sure you've had water? And he said, yep, I've had 2 quarts of water today. Okay. When it didn't work, I finally asked him, what form was the water in? And he said, tea, black tea. It's like, caffeine. Now, in the US, they have iced tea. You don't have that here, do you? Yeah. So he had 2 quarts of black iced tea before his treatment. And he wondered why it was that the treatment didn't work. So do not accept the statement, I drink lots of water, because for some patients, lots is, so how much water did you have? Oh, I had lots. How much exactly? I had a big glass this morning, 4 ounces. And then I had a cup of coffee at lunch. And then I had a big glass after lunch. Shyam, is there any hope at all that they can move us to a different room? See, this is very difficult, yes? Yeah, okay, thank you. She does magic, maybe? No, it's not gonna happen? No, okay, I didn't think so. Somebody's, oh, right. Yeah. So they asked for a bigger room so there'd be more room. And there's still not even room. Okay, somebody said, how is it you can help? Any of you that are good at praying, we could use snow. Snow would be good, right? I wouldn't mind the snow. So coffee and caffeinated beverages do not count as water. So as the afternoon goes on in the next hour, drink water. Now, when you have coffee at the coffee break, that's okay. 1 cup of coffee is not going to dehydrate you, as long as you've had water. In general, when we treat the muscle,
Okay. So, I wanted to make sure that we all got that message for ourselves and for anybody that we've shared a Healy with on water. If they're kind of struggling saying, I'm not getting effects, that same thing applies to us with Healy and the hydration. Because you can kind of think of it like like an old cassette tape. If some of you guys remember cassette tapes or magnetic tape, that is, they would attach the frequencies of the sound so it plays on that magnetic tape, that magnetic oxide. If there's not magnetic oxide, there's nowhere for the frequencies to attach. So what they know is our body is like a big semiconductor. And if we don't have water for the frequencies to attach it, when you're running your pink dot frequencies, there's nowhere for those, it's harder for the frequencies and you won't get the same effect. We need to be hydrated. So any questions from what she was sharing there, or any input on that, or, and really what it means to drink water, not coffee, tea, those kind of beverages, because they're, it's not water.
John, is that for any program in the pink or the blue?
Well, I for sure it's for any program in the pink, Rebecca. Any program in the pink, because their frequency.
What about the resonance analysis programs?
That I don't have as good an answer for. I don't
Okay.
know on the resonance, because it's working in the information field coming in us. But I do know that, if we're not hydrated well, you know, even if we're trying to do that kind of muckety muck out there in the information field, um, you know, I guess I would kind of default, but I don't have a definitive answer on that. I'm just making a guess on that. Um, you know,
Got it.
that, but on the pink, for sure, because that's coming in with the microcurrents on our wrists, and it's, you know, vibrating those frequencies in on us. And Nuno Nina has said that. So, and I'm a patient of his, like I've shared with some of you, and he just always hammers in. I want to make sure you drink a couple liters of water before you come in, and you know, do this kind of work. And I'm doing it remotely with him on my time waiver machine. But he stressed the importance of water as well. So he and McMacken, and you know, they've been working with frequency microcurrents for 20 plus years. So I just wanted to get that out to all of us here, that here we are, we have our Healy, we're trying to get a result. And if we're dehydrated and we've run our 3 programs that day, you might as well not have run the 3 programs. Imagine that. Here you are, you're doing the programs, and you're just drinking your coffee or your latte or your iced tea, thinking you're hydrated, and that's not it. You know, at a minimum, a quart. Well, that's 4 8-ounce glasses. And if you could drink 4 8-ounce glasses before initiating a treatment, you're going to be good. Or if you're sipping water all throughout the day and you're hydrated, and then you run your frequencies, that's going to be benefit. That's going to be, you know, best. And those frequencies are going to stick. They're going to create the kind of, no one's taught us that our body is like a semiconductor. You know, our body is really, we're really electrical beings. And that's kind of what Nuno Nina has discovered. And that's how he's attempting to treat us electronically with frequencies to readjust us so that we operate at, you know, peak efficiency.
I have another question on, you know, you mentioned the whatever those things are.
Wristbands?
And most of the programs in the programs that I use in the pink all say you can use the coil. Do you
Yeah.
agree that coil's as effective as using the electrodes on your hand, or whatever you call those things?
Yeah, no, there's a difference there. Very good question, Rebecca. So the what you don't get when you're using just the coil, I mean, it'll deliver the frequencies and you'll get the frequency treatment. That's good, but you still need the water with that, with the coil. But what you don't get is very interesting. The microcurrents have been studied, and they know that it increases APT production by 500%. That's the little energizer in your cell that causes energy. And if your cell has more energy, what do cells do? Cells divide. That's what they do. They go through mitosis and they divide. So if at a minimum, I try and tell everybody from what I know, unless I ever get something different, you got to run at least 3 microcurrent treatments a week, because that's going to up your cellular energy. As we get older, or if we have disease, our cellular voltage drops. When we're young and a little baby or a teenager and stuff, it's at like 70 millivolts. But as we get older, I'll find it. I've got a slide here somewhere that actually shows the graph from what they did on the studying. But as we get older, have disease, the cellular production drops. So what can we do? We can charge it up with the microvolt treatment.
And those are all the pink programs, right?
All the pink programs, but with wires on, with the wires as it's being delivered with the microcurrents. So
All right, so you should always use the wires with the pink programs, not always.
Not always. I mean, I would do it at least 3 times a week. That seems to be a minimum from what I've heard. If I heard more, you know, more would
Okay.
probably be better. But at a minimum 3, and then if you've got the coil, because of convenience sake, you just want to pop in the coil, wear it around your neck, and get a treatment. I understand that. Yeah, use the coil. But if you've got the opportunity, try and say, like, I want to also get a benefit besides just getting the frequencies like the coil delivers. You also get a microvoltage treatment, which independently of the frequencies increases your cellular vitality,
Right.
increases the cellular battery. So it's like 2 things in one happening when you're doing a frequency treatment on the pink dot.
Okay,
You're getting the specific treatment for, kidneys, mind, pure, gold, fitness, whatever. You're getting the benefit of those frequencies that know what they need to do for that part of the body, the organ, the mind. But also because it's being delivered by microcurrents, you get the APT increase that happens that
okay.
increases that battery. So that's a great question. Good question. Yep.
Is there a program for blood pressure? Because I can't find anything that relates to blood pressure.
Okay,
And mine is too high.
let's take a peek. Let's see what we do here. Let's go through. I think there is, and I'm going to show it to you on how I would find that answer to that question. Should come up here in a second. Okay, so these you obviously the pink dot, blue dot, but if we go into Heal Advisor, do you have Heal Advisor, Rebecca?
Right. I go into that.
Okay, so let's go into it. I'm gonna go into
Right,
it.
wait, okay. I can go into it on my phone.
Yeah, I'll show you here. So
All right,
here
go
we
ahead, show
go.
me on there.
Yep. So here we go. I get the notices. I'm clicking through it. So okay, type here. So let's go blood. Say anything in there for blood pressure, P. Okay, there it is. Look at that. Pops up blood pressure regulation. So if I tap on this, here are the programs that it suggests. So you got circulatory system, hormonal balance, kidneys, thyroid, heart, first application. There's a variety of them here. Like how do you
Right.
pick which one? I don't know how you pick which one over in there. And I don't think they're to me it looks like there's no
I
sort
do
of
kidney every day.
okay, so you're doing kidney, so you're getting some with kidney, right?
I'll do circulatory system and thank you.
Yep. Okay, good. Yeah, good question. I mean, that's one of the other ways to go ask if you know you got something specific.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yep. Anybody else?
This is Heather.
Hi.
Hi, I just have something to add about water and hydration.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, there's a website. It's called watercures.org. And what this has to do with is the need for sea salt. And I found it on a different site, but this is the newest version of it. But it's really worth looking at and understanding how sea salt. So this could be like, Celtic sea salt or Himalayan. I think Himalayan is supposed to be really, really good. And then there's also one in Utah that is called Real Salt. And you can find that in a health food store, probably online. It's all one word, Real Salt. But it's kind of like if you want to get hydrated, you need salt in your diet. Now, before I say that, you just read through the site because it says, if you're on medication, you're under a doctor's care, et cetera, there are going to be certain people that this won't be good for. So you definitely want to read through that. But if you qualify basically for doing this, it's a wonderful way to hydrate the body. And it's kind of like, I don't know what they call that stuff for athletes, but there's that stuff that you drink for hydration. Do you know what that is, John? I don't.
Electrolytes?
Yes. So this is how you get your electrolytes.
That'd be electrolytes for 200, please.
Yes, right. Exactly. And so that's why if you ever drink an electrolyte drink, it has that salty flavor to it. But there's a huge difference between table salt and really good salt. So that's one thing I wanted to throw in. The other thing is really pay attention to the quality of your water. And then the third thing I wanted to say is that I have a crystal toning bowl. And I was listening to a talk from this yogi in India, and he was talking all about water and how to work with your water and let it sit overnight. And for some reason, I just got this idea to go and put my water in a toning bowl. So the first thing I did was I muscle tested it. And I did this with a sway test. So I just held the water and my body immediately went back because I was getting it right out of the tap. But in Sedona, where I was living, They also have well water, but still it wasn't good enough. So then I ran it through I just put the glass or a bottle into my crystal toning bowl and I toned it. And bam, it immediately shifted it because when you work with sound frequencies, it's remarkable what you can do. You can also do this using the Healy, where you actually put the little sensors on it, or the whatever you call those, John, whatever. And you can actually put it on a bottle of water and you can run frequencies into the water. So there's a lot to be said by changing the frequency of your water and then drinking it. And one more thing to keep in mind, if you tell a client, I need you to drink, X amount of water before we talk, it needs to be spread out. It doesn't work if you just gag it all down at once. If you're just drinking all the water at once, it's not going to work. It has to be spread out a bit. So that's another thing to be aware of when you're asking people to drink water. But I thought I'd throw in the thing about the crystal bowl, because I know a lot of crystal bowl people, and none of them had ever thought to put their water in and tone it like that. We have been able to change alcohol. Like, we've had people come in and taste before and after, and they can't believe it. It changes everything. And it just is restructuring your water just by the sound frequencies. So that's what I had to throw in.
All right, thanks,
Heather,
Heather.
before you go, I'm sorry, John.
Yep, go
Heather,
ahead, Rebecca.
what, you said you put the sensors on the water bottle, then which program do you run on the water?
John, what would you suggest?
Well, you could determine which frequencies you wanted to take in there, Rebecca. I've done I've done a variety of them over there to experiment. I've even done an experiment where I dropped the leads from the Healy into a bathtub while I'm taking a bath.
And into a spa. You guys, listen to this. John and I
happens when you
met
do
in
that?
a spa, and he
right.
dropped him into the spa water.
What happened?
Well, everybody got a frequency treatment in there. So I can tell on your Healy, on your Healy when it's on your phone. I forgot about that, Heather. Right. So yeah, I met Heather out at the Moccasin Springs in Hot Springs, South Dakota, a couple of weeks ago, and we're in the spa. And I brought my Healy out, and I was showing it to some other people there. And I said, "Hey, why don't we get a frequency treatment?" So I think I ran Gold Pure or Care or something in there, or somebody else had some other issue on detox, so I ran the detox one. So everybody got the benefit of those frequencies that was in the hot tub. And how could I tell that it was being delivered? Because I could tell on my phone that the polarity had been established, and it went from black to white. So it had the red dot circulated by white. And I just amped it up to 100% when I drop it into a bathtub or a spa like that. But my first experience doing it was at night. I was taking a bath. I was getting ready for bed, and I thought, why don't I run the sleep program? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? I'll run that as a preparatory. I ran that one. I went the next morning when I had a good night's sleep. But what was really interesting, when I woke up the next morning, I was so rested. I was just so rested. I felt like so refreshed, and it was like such a good sleep. So I was kind of convinced, and there's Tammy saying, "Be careful, don't drop the Healy
Yeah.
in." She goes, "Right, if you drop it in,
won't
be
slide.
careful. It's not. You do not want to drop Healy in there. But the coils, the little wires, not the coil, but the wires, the leads that hook onto your wristbands, that you drop in, and that's completely okay." Yeah, and I dropped mine in too, Tammy, and I was lucky. I let mine just dry up for about a month and a half, and it finally came back. If you do it and you wreck your Healy, it's about a $350 mistake. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what they charge for the hardware for that.
Well, John, I just want to say one more thing about that. When people can't get their Healy to connect, you can just go, hey, take a bath, drop the leads in, you'll be all set. I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you bet. Any next questions? Grady, you got a question? Calling people out. Gail, Dorothy, Julie, anybody else have a question? Anybody want to see anything demoed about how to use the Healy on something? Any questions or challenges? Anything you don't know that you'd like to know? Something, anything's kind of open for here with our group. And then maybe if there's not a question, maybe somebody wants to share a current success that they're having with Healy so we can learn. We learned some good stuff here a week or two ago with some sharings what people were doing, so that's always valuable. Anybody have anything they'd like to share on it? What's going good for them with Healy?
I'm working with somebody, just got a question if anybody has an answer, but I'm working with somebody who has had a feeding tube put on because she's got so many health issues with her digestive system and whatnot. Does
Mhm.
anybody have suggestions for that? I guess right now I'm just running things to help them out for what comes up
Yeah.
because I'm not really sure. So if anybody has a suggestion, that would be great.
Anybody can talk here. I mean, I'm not the only guru, or I'm not even a guru. I mean, so you're using the blue, right, Marcia, to kind of run a scan on them to figure out what to peel off.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing because she doesn't live around here. Just a lot of digestive issues and well, I think a lot is emotional too. So I'm just running what comes up, but hopefully we can help her along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know if there was any suggestions. I mean, I'm doing analysis. I haven't tried analysis today. Yesterday mine wasn't working
Mm-hmm.
and it would just come up something about text. So I haven't tried today, but I'm running frequencies now. So on her. So I have
Yep.
to wait a little bit here.
Well, I will. Let's go through. I'll dial in stomach on the search, and here's what I just came up with for stomach. So here's some, and these are, just so maybe some folks don't know this, but in the Healy Advisor, what they did is they went to, there's a board. I don't know where I can go find this, who's all on that board, but frequency, let's just call them doctors, right? Um, Frequency doctors or frequency professionals. And when they type this in, these are things that they recommend. So, like when we go through and use the Heal Advisor, this isn't John saying this. I don't have any real credentials. I just have some experience here over a year and a half, 15 months with this. So, and I'm just sharing what I've learned. So I'm like a little bee pollinating stuff along the way. So, when I just type in here, Marcia, so we got stomach meridians, extreme stress, which I think you're starting to work on some of the emotional stuff, the immune system, bacteria, gastrointestinal, nerve meridian, mental balance, release, the deep cycle first and digest all, balance out of the gold and pure and relax. So those are pink dots. So you're going to be trying to also then figure out she's not close at hand. So now I'm kind of catching myself. So what would you run? Um, what are some of the ideas to go run on blue dot, right? Is that it, Marcia?
Yeah, I was trying to think of the word. She has gastroparesis. Maybe that's what we should pull up. And it's working now. I just was able to pull it up, but yeah, stomach, nerves, spleen, exhaustion. So I guess that's what I'm doing right now for her. But I don't know if there's any other advice to give her. As she's going, we're doing this, she's on a feeding tube. She's can't eat because she is so sick.
Mm-hmm. Does
Um,
anybody else have any experience with anyone with the feeding tube and what they did for well-being? It can be outside of Healy too. I mean, we're just a little community sharing here.
Absolutely.
No experience.
I was trying to let in my mom's cousin. I think she's my second cousin or third cousin. Keeps flipping out. She's Diane. She's a nurse. If she gets in here, she might have some other ideas for us. Diane, are you in?
I am. I couldn't get the volume up, so I had to leave the meeting to do it.
Okay. Can you hear us okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Marcia, you want to repeat your question? This could be extend outside of Healy, Diane. So this might be a question where you might have some other ideas for somebody's health and well-being. Marcia's
All
looking
right.
for frequencies for. I don't know. Did you hear the question, or I'll just have.
No,
Marcia-
I did not.
Okay, Marcia, you want to repeat your question?
Right. I have someone who has got, gastroparesis. I'm really not too familiar with that. And she's on a feeding tube now. I was doing some frequencies on her, but, and, she was using some other natural products that I got her started on, but really has a lot of struggles with that and really had more problems in the last maybe 6 months. So now she's on the feeding tube. I just learned a couple days ago. So I'm just running frequencies on the blue because that's the best that I can do for her. But I don't know if there's anything else that I should reach out to them other than, of course, I do doTERRA. So I'm talking about digestive symphony of cells because we want to work on the digestive system with this. But I just was looking for if anybody had suggestions for her. She's a young gal with kids and really needs help.
Well, gastroparesis is basically just a very slowing of the movement of contents through the intestines. And so I would be curious I think it would go back to why is she on the tube feeding?
Right, because she's lost a lot of weight and can't eat. And I
So
suppose
she can't eat or she's afraid to eat because of the gastroparesis problems?
that may be it. She is a nurse. So I know she's familiar with things, but I believe she's got a lot of emotional things. So
Can I pipe in for just a minute?
Sure.
This is Tammy. You said she's a nurse. Is she a nurse in a nursing home or a regular hospital?
in a clinic.
Okay, I don't know if that matters. I was just curious because if it was something interesting that Tim finds, and I looked it up that there's some frequencies for it in the Healy, but an interesting fact is Tim finds that most people have gotten the polio vaccine. And as we get older, or he's found in the elderly, that polio vaccine is still in their body and it starts settling in their intestines and basically paralyzes their intestines, and it can't, the waste can't move through. And that's why you find most people in nursing homes and things like that have terrible constipation. So you can kind of, buy it or not buy it, but that could be something. But there is some polio frequencies. If you look under your Heal Advisor, there's release in the gold. There's third application in the deep cycle. There's digestol in the deep cycle. There's a lot of gold ones. There's a clean all. So, I mean, it might be worth, there's even a gastrointestinal and intestines, but thank you, John, for doing that. So
Is that what you did
yours,
right there? Okay. Yeah.
yours looks a little different than mine, but
I
a
just
lot
put-
of the same, just maybe in a different order than mine were. But so that might be something, one direction to go. Because I do know there's a couple extra essential oils that are specific for that little villi, to kind of get that villi going, and I'd have to run to my book. For some reason, I want to say one of them is marjoram, but I'd have to double check if I'm remembering right. But I know you say now with the feeding tube in, maybe you aren't, as she isn't as accessible to you, but this Healy frequency. But just a thought, and I thought that might be an interesting tidbit for some of you when you, something you don't think about.
Right, right. You know, she's coming up high with learning. I'm just sharing with all of you, but she comes up high with learning systems, quite high actually. And then we go to deep cycle programs is higher next. And when I go to deep cycle, it's their application, just like you talked, Tammy.
Okay,
And
okay.
Ear calm and kidney all female. And I'm sure that all, you know, connects. And those are all in the 50% and above. So I'll.
And kidneys are fear, you know, so.
Right, exactly.
And you know, that could be fear that you had with everything else, you know, going on at a clinic, but also fear of what's happening now, you know, so you don't know that way. But
Right. And I don't even know if she's working anymore because she moved in with her mom and dad because of her health issues. So, and they're trying to help her. So we are, you know, kind of reaching out, and I'll do what I can. But I just thought I'd ask if somebody's got other ideas too, because we are using the oil. She can't take things internally, I guess.
right,
And
right.
so we're doing things topically and
Mhm,
trying to support her that way.
right.
Does she
Symphony of
have
Self.
I'm wondering if she has currently or had an eating disorder or a history of that.
Mhm.
I think a big emotional background, you know, so it could be, but I don't know her personally that well.
Okay.
I
You know,
can
the thing that
ask that.
concerns me is that, I mean, the feeding tube is a short-term solution,
Right,
but it generally makes it speeds up the peristalsis. So that moves through the intestinal tract quicker and then can actually cause diarrhea.
yeah, she suffers from that tremendously. Yeah. So I'll reach out a little bit more. See what I can
Is
find.
she
out.
having counseling?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, emotionally, I think that's maybe a big thing, but it's been years. And the last 6 months, she said, has been really bad. So I really don't know where she's at with, you know, everything that, because of her world that she lives in, what she's introduced to her body and stuff like that. So I haven't.
What is her age?
I think she's like 45.
Okay,
Yeah, about it, probably in her 40s, I would say. Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Well, I'll move forward with
Yeah,
just keeping on supporting where I'm at. And
Yeah.
if somebody has another idea, that'd be great. But thank you, and interesting information.
you know, if you're working with the emotional stuff, the Bach flowers and, you know, homeopathic remedies on the blue, if you're vibrating out there, I would do those and broadcast that to her to support her in that way.
Okay. Okay. I'll add those in. Thank you.
Yeah. So does anyone have anything to share on Healy, any kind of thing on their journey with Healy? Anything that they're doing that they want to offer to the group that's working for you, that you've had some success with?
You know, John, I would just say about, 6 weeks ago, I tripped on a very uneven sidewalk. There was about a 3 or 4 inch gap or height difference between 2 squares and kind of did a face plant. But then, I guess that was another issue. I bumped my shin on a lawn chair and had a skin tear. And later that day, I did the resonance analysis, and it was really interesting because everything that came up had something related to that. Like a wound or an open wound. I mean, the whole thing, it was amazing.
And then, so yeah, it is pretty amazing when it comes up with it. It kind of blows you away, doesn't it?
Right. I mean, everything under the resonance analysis, each of the 4 sections were related to that.
So what did you do?
Well, I ran the Healy multiple times, and it's doing very well.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of get blown away by it too all the time when I run it. Somebody else just did the same thing for me here this week, and they asked me, they were not feeling well, and I ran to Healy, and they're down in Austin, Texas, and I just met them at a conference, and they called me up, and I ran some scans, and it came up, bacterial kind of stuff, viral stuff, and on the phone, I just had called her and said, hey, here, I do this and that, and she was worried if it was COVID, was going to do a test and wanted to know if she should stick something up her nose. And I kind of said, I wasn't a big proponent of sticking something up your nose, but I said, let me go run some of these frequencies and we'll just see. I have no idea what we'll do. And she goes, by the end of our phone call, she's going, you know what? I feel more relaxed. I feel a little more alive. And that was only after like a broadcast of about 3.5 minutes or 5 minutes of frequencies. And I kind of said, well, okay, good. I'll keep you in there and I'll broadcast you a few more times and, let you know. And she's young. God, I can't remember, Mom. What was Sarah? She's 33 or something. So anyways, 33 or 36. She kind of seemed to bounce back. But yeah, it's kind of amazing, isn't it? Were you here, Diane? Were you here when Anae was sharing about her face and her wipeout and what she did?
Yes, I was. When I did my face plant, the biggest issue was my left hand. But anyway.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for sharing, Diane. Appreciate that. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Or any other questions? Well, if we don't have anything more, I guess maybe we could probably end it early tonight. Yeah, sound good? All right.
Thank you,
okay.
John.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody for showing up, and I'll, I guess next week, it's going to be Thanksgiving, so I guess we'll do a punt.
Right.
We won't do it next week, so we got a week off.
All right.
So next
Okay.
week,
Thank you.
well,
Meeting
it's
next
Thanksgiving.
week.
Have a happy
Happy
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy
you too.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right, you bet. See ya.